Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 14, Text 11. This Vena, king of the state, in order to give protection to the citizens. But now he has become the enemy of the citizens. Despite all these discrepancies, we should at once try to pacify him. By doing so, we may not be touched by the sinful results caused by him. Purport. The saintly sages elected King Vena to become king, but he proved to be mischievous. Therefore the sages were very much afraid of incurring sinful reaction. The law of karma prohibits a person even to associate with a mischievous individual. By electing Vena to the throne, the saintly sages certainly associated with him. Ultimately, King Vena became so mischievous that the saintly sages actually became afraid of becoming contaminated by his activities. Thus, before taking any action against him, the sages tried to pacify and correct him so that he might turn from his mischief. Nirupita prajapala sojigam sutivai praja tatapi santavayema mum namasman patakam sprishet. We appointed this Vena, king of the state, in order to give protection to the citizens. But now he has become the enemy of the citizens. Despite all these discrepancies, we should at once try to pacify him. By doing so, we may not be touched by the sinful results caused by him. So these sages and saintly persons, having installed Vena on the throne, were lamenting now that they have put somebody in the position who was just causing trouble to all the people. Instead of protecting the citizens, he became the enemy of the citizens. So, this is a problem in the material world, that the protectors turn to enemies, or the enemies become your protectors. In either case, the situation is always bad for all of the persons in this world. Situation's always bad because that's the nature of Kali Yuga. Prayinal parishapum sakalosmin juge jana manda samanda matayo manda bhagi upadita. This whole Kali Yuga is filled with people who are short-lived and less intelligent. Compared to formerly, people's lives' duration is very short, and their intelligence level has reduced considerably. And everybody is slow. Manda. Manda means very slow. Very slow to self-realization. Not quick to take up spiritual life. Not at all. How long it took some people to join Krishna consciousness. Not quick. Took a time. Why? Because manda, slow. People do not understand things very quickly nowadays. By logic, by reason, by understanding. They cannot catch on very fast that the goal of life is Vishnu. Nate vidu svatakatim Vishnu. The people just don't know it. They don't know that the goal of life is to worship Vishnu. And even if they're told, they're very slow to accept it. Agitated, disturbed, all the time. Misguided. They're looking for leadership. Everybody looks for leadership somehow or another. Either they look for it politically, or in their social circles, or economically, or even in the leadership of their stars, who they worship. Some look for religious leadership, but above all, everyone is being misguided in the Kali Yuga. Cheaters and cheated. You'll always find somebody within one of these two categories. Either you're a cheater or you're cheated. But as far as actual peacefulness, actual quality of surrender to Krishna does not exist. Why? Because this material world is a very nasty place. So the sages were implicated. They were already implicated. They put him there, despite the objections of the ministers. All right, Krishna's mercy. Now, what to do? Well, let's read the next verse. Tad vidhabhir asad vrito veno smabhi krito nripa sandvito yadi novacham na grahisyat dharmakrit loka dikara sandagham dahishyama swatejasa. Saintly persons continued thinking. Of course, we are completely aware of his mischievous nature. Yet, nevertheless, we enthroned Vena. If we cannot persuade King Vena to accept our advice, he will be condemned by the public, and we will join him. We will join them. Thus, by our prowess, we shall burn him to ashes. Purport. Saintly persons are not interested in political matters, yet they are always thinking of the welfare of the people in general. Consequently, they sometimes have to come down to the political field and take steps to correct the misguided government or royalty. However, in Kali Yuga, saintly persons are not as powerful as they previously were. They used to be able to burn any sinful man to ashes by virtue of their spiritual prowess. Now saintly persons have no such power due to the influence of Kali, age of Kali. Indeed, the Brahmanas do not even have the power to perform sacrifices in which animals are put into a fire to attain a new life. Under these circumstances, instead of actively taking part in politics, saintly persons should engage in chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna. By the grace of Lord Chaitanya, by simply chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the general populace can derive all benefits without political implications. Prabhupada refers here in this purport to pseudo-saintly persons. Persons who proclaim themselves saintly or others proclaim saintly, but who themselves are simply interested in politics. They are not really interested in spiritual life. Their whole purpose is to make some kind of political adjustment. And thus, they are wasting their lives. Many in India, under the banner of spirituality, have been simply preaching politics. In recent history also. Therefore, Prabhupada rejects all such persons as being as dangerous as that which they are trying to change, or more dangerous. Prabhupada once mentioned about one recent politician posing as devotee in India, who ruined Indian people's understanding of spiritual life by mixing the idea of political freedom with spiritual freedom. And thus people think that freedom means to be free from political oppression. And he said that's just as bad. That's worse, Prabhupada used the word worse, than the political repression itself. Because when you proclaim a material political ingredient to be spiritual, to be part and parcel of spiritual life, then this is very, very, very demoniac. In fact, it's exactly what the communist governments do in their own countries. They put as priests their most trusted agents who preach love of state. In the Western world, Maya does that anyway by making the priests materialistic. So they also preach love of money. So basically the whole world is misguided. Because the contact to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not established. The contact to the actual spiritual principles is not there. Therefore, misguided. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established this Hare Krishna movement. Just so proper guidance will be there. But not through political arrangements, but by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You can change a king by making him chant Hare Krishna. Then he can no longer maintain his material political idea. We ourselves will never be very competent in the political arena. Basically speaking, the devotees are never very competent in the political arena. We are not very expert in material managerial affairs like that. But we know Krishna. And that means we have full competence to tell anybody, including any leader of any state anywhere, what are the symptoms of the age of Kali and what are the methods to cure those symptoms of disease. But such leaders of state are very proud and puffed up, and they think we are big political leaders. We have been elected by the mandate of the people or by the mandate of the committee or whatever. We do not require you to give us guidance. And besides, you'll just bring in this God business. You'll just bring in this Krishna business, this Bhagavad Gita business, this surrender business, this nothing is mine business. Ha! Forget it. Therefore, such persons who are materialistically minded will never accept the very obvious instructions that the devotees of the Lord can give, because these instructions are based completely on Krishna, and that's exactly what such leaders do not wish. Because they want to be the supreme controllers and supreme enjoyers. They don't like it if a devotee tells them that, sir, you're not the supreme. When Prahlad Maharaj told Hiranyakashipu, my dear sir, you're not the supreme. You're getting your strength from that personality who is also giving me my strength, or anyone else giving them their strength. You are dependent soul, not independent soul. Hiranyakashipu got very angry and very upset, picked up Prahlad and threw him on the floor, wishing to kill him. How dare he even insinuate that there was someone more powerful than he? Doesn't he understand the truth? So, very dangerous position when one wishes to actually give to some big leader some Krishna conscious advice. Dangerous position. To leader of state, as soon as one says, look, you're doing it wrong, some places you can end up in jail, other places you can end up declared a madman. This is going on. They're very expert. In the communist countries, they throw you in jail. In the capitalist countries, they just proclaim you a madman and ruin your reputation. Take your pick. In the fire or in the boiling water? You can cook in either way. There's no shelter in the material world. Either this side or that side. Both sides stink. Only in one side you can say that a little bit more clearly. So, the material world is a place of suffering. Oh yes. Different places, different people are suffering like anything. And because they're misguided. So the saintly persons have to do something about it. They have to do something about it. But what's to be done? Engaging in political affairs? Not going to help. Simply making politics? Not going to help. What will help? To actually deliver Krishna to the people, and automatically everything will change. Our revolution is one from the bottom up, where you just give them Krishna, and then one day they all just vote for a Krishna conscious person as leader of state. Yeah. I remember even in San Francisco, a long time ago, I was there in Rath Yatra in both 1974 and 1975, Prabhupada. And on both occasions, the mayor declared it Rath Yatra Day, a holiday, and came and spoke at the Rath Yatra, and also one of the council members, they came and spoke, and they made it a political rally, talking about the great need for this Krishna conscious festival and how actually the city depends on these things, and it worked. All the people there were very impressed. They applauded. So, one could see a taste of the future. It was strange, but it was fun. Yes, the qualification may be someday how Krishna conscious one is. Long time ago, I don't know if you ever knew about this, we had a political party called In God We Trust. Prabhupada invented that. He said you should try and do something there. So, one of our devotees ran for a political post. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was some council member or political something, a big post in a city, in a big city. And his name wasn't even on the ballot officially because he wasn't one of the party members of either party. He was an independent candidate. Yet he received over 8,000 votes. You know, out of a total vote of something like 30,000. And believe me, the other political leaders in that city really were watching that one. He campaigned with tilak on, and he said the biggest problem in this city is a lack of God consciousness and nothing more. And they used to ask, but what about the garbage collection? Because it wasn't very good at that time. He said a Krishna conscious man can get rid of the garbage. Get rid of the garbage in your own heart, and then you can get rid of the garbage. So Prabhupada, they wrote to Prabhupada, they said, Prabhupada, we lost the election. Prabhupada said, there's nothing to lament about. Just think, 8,000 people supported what you said. That's wonderful. So, of course, our political platform is that you should follow the order of God, the system of the Supreme. We are not interested in the political arrangement of that, but we'll just give the knowledge by which other people can follow that. We say, our party line is Krishna's party. The Krishna party. We say, whatever Krishna says, that's law. Whatever Krishna says, that's the truth. Whatever Krishna wants, that's the direction we move in. Yeah. We have a party line. And we don't deviate from that. It's Krishna all the way. Of course, the communists, they don't like that. Because they're Marx all the way. And we're Krishna all the way. So they even speak like that. Marx against Krishna. But we say that's already finished. Marx is already dead. Krishna's still going on. Lenin's finished. Krishna's still going on. They're all finished, all dead men. And Krishna's still going on. Huh? Therefore, no problem. Whoever you want to put up against Krishna, no problem. Give that man 20, 30, 40 more years. He'll be dead too. Another memory. Someone to wipe out of the previous newspaper articles. Another one to turn around everybody's opinion of later on. Yes, okay, we can make such a conflict, but Krishna is eternal. They are temporary. Obviously, Krishna wins always. Because he's the absolute truth. Everyone else is relative truth. Just like now, so much preaching going on in Russia. Who's instigating all this? Lord Chaitanya. He's just saying, go on, go on, go on. Even though so many troubles are there, he's still saying, go on, go on, go on. I remember after once when the German government had not learned its lesson, they thought they could stop this Krishna consciousness movement. So they made an attempt. And Prabhupada later on, 2 years later, when the German devotees were back on top of the world again in book distribution, Prabhupada said, the demons said, let it be finished. And Krishna said, no, let it increase. The demons say, let it be finished. And Krishna says, no, let it increase. So who will win? The demons say, let it get trouble. Krishna says, no, it shall not be bothered. But maybe we individually may have to suffer something for Krishna. Maybe we individually, just like we may have to suffer the great burden of the book bag on the back. We may have to suffer the great burden of doing something we ordinarily wouldn't do. Of taking a position we ordinarily wouldn't take. Of taking a responsibility we ordinarily wouldn't take. Actually, I can give example in my own life that by nature I am not at all inclined to responsibility. You might be scratching your heads about that one. But Prabhupada insisted, and I escaped this way and that way for some time. Then he insisted, you must do. So then we had no choice. Captured by the spiritual master, tightly in his grip. And that was it. So now we take responsibility. It is not that by nature we like to take responsibility. By nature we don't. But our nature has become whatever the nature that the spiritual master wanted, that's our nature. So now it is my nature to take responsibility. That is the way we do it in spiritual life. The spiritual master wants us to do things in this way, then we do them in that way. May not be according to what we think is our own material quality. I was quite blissfully typing Prabhupada's tapes from his books and taking care of all of the Sanskrit and this and that in the book. If he would quote a verse, Prabhupada used to sometimes quote verses from places where there was no way to figure out where that verse came from. I used to have 10 or different books of verses, which had different indexes of verses in them, from all the various shastras, both Sanskrit and Bengali, just in the index books. When we used to travel, I used to carry around at least this many books, simply so that when Prabhupada came up with a verse, which wasn't in any commentary in the books, the original books, no one had ever heard it before, no one had ever seen it before. So I had to search. Sometimes it would take 8 hours of searching through all these books to find the verse, so I could type it down. Yeah. I mean, of course, Prabhupada's scholarship is beyond compare. So it was very blissful work to be like a Sherlock Holmes in the Sanskrit department. It was very blissful. And to hear Prabhupada's direct words as he was writing these books. Because after he finished the tape, my business was to erase it and put it back on the machine again. So we heard these words as Bhagavatam was being written, Chaitanya Charitamrita was being written. We were listening very, very carefully, and I personally felt that this was the whole purpose of my life, was simply to listen to Prabhupada writing his books and type them down and then proofread or whatever. This I felt was from the beginning, because I had been also proofreader in the press. So I was thinking, this is the perfection. And then Prabhupada decided that was not the perfection. The perfection was something else. And later on he said, you thought I was not liking you. I wanted to throw you out from this position. And you didn't realize I didn't want you just rotting there typing. And he used to move his fingers like this. Once he criticized me. I don't remember what context it was in. Maybe when I was trying to push him to do more, because everybody in LA was calling me up day and night in India, saying, make Prabhupada go faster, make Prabhupada. So then I tried in different ways, and then Prabhupada said, this is not artificial what I am doing. It is not like what you are doing. I have to very carefully think about this before writing. It is not so simple. Just like you're typing. He went again like this. So Prabhupada said, why you should just rot typing? I didn't think I was rotting. But if he said I was rotting, I was rotting. And that's right. I probably was rotting. I definitely was rotting. Sometimes I think that nobody can understand the depth of the spiritual master's desire. Even if sometimes we don't even understand why he says or does what he does. Sometimes it's completely mysterious. Completely mysterious. Just like one time, I had just finished. Of course, you get to understand these things after a while. At this time, I was already almost understanding some of the things that the spiritual master does. I just finished typing the section in Chaitanya Charitamrita some months back, where Prabhupada was talking about Maha Prasadam. That the prasadam from the Lord is called Maha Prasadam, and when it's offered to the spiritual master, it's called Maha Prasadam. That which is taken by spiritual master is Maha Prasadam. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita that's there. So I was always very careful to make sure that all of Prabhupada's remnants, because I was responsible for all these things, were very carefully taken care of and distributed equally to everybody. Yeah. The old egalitarian tendency was there in those days, so we thought we'd give everybody equally without considering who's deserving and who's not deserving, to pass out the mercy nicely. But the secretary of Prabhupada decided that he was going to take everything and not give it to anybody. Well, this became a battle. And it became a raging battle. Because I insisted Prabhupada had written in his books that this prasadam was special, and he said it's not special. And I should take it all. And it became such a huge battle that the argument was raging so loud. Prabhupada was sitting on his chair down on the end of the hallway. This was in Mayapur. And he said, "What are they arguing about?" So, Hari Sori was servant at that time. And he came down the hallway and said, "Prabhupada wants to know what you're yelling about." So then we both had to march down the hallway and explain ourselves. So I said, "Prabhupada, he wants to take all the prasadam." And I said, "He's not the first one that wants to do this. I just had to argue with the last one who wanted to do this." Because, these secretaries are always changing. So I said, "You wrote in your books there's Maha Maha. And then it's special. And then it should be passed out. I feel that it should be passed out in an equal way." And then Prabhupada said, "Who has told you it is special?" I said, "But it was in your books. You just wrote it." He said, "I have not written like that." And then that person said, See, I told you." I was just pulling my hair out. Then I said, "Yes, it is not like that." Rope snake, rope snake, rope snake. Yeah. It is a rope. No, it is a snake. Yes, it is a snake. No, it is a rope. Yes, it is a rope. No. And it is not just like that. Because when you tell that Vedic example, that the disciple thinks whatever the spiritual master tells him, sometimes people think this is mindless, machine-like. But there's a very deep principle behind that. That spiritual master will act in such a way as to give everybody the opportunity to become Krishna conscious. And sometimes that may mean that one says, "Yes, let him be doing what he's doing, that's all right." Or sometimes that may mean spiritual master says, "No, this is the reality." And factually it is so, but no one else can see it that way. Because the spiritual master's vision is on another level completely. He sees things from another point of view. And because of that, one may not be able to see what he sees. And therefore, one should not make judgment that, "Oh no, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong, this is right." So, very difficult. Very difficult. Therefore, one requires spiritual master and one requires to surrender. Because then one gets very deep instruction. Very deep instruction. And the spiritual master may engage us in something which we don't want to do right now. But we find it is actually wonderful. Deep person. Actually, the whole way we ended up here in Europe and the whole way that we ended up preaching in communist countries was mystically predicted by Prabhupada before. And although we had the faintest idea in the world, as far as we were concerned, we were going to stay with Prabhupada to the end of our days, and there was no way anything was going to change that. Traveling all over the world, we thought this was perfection, and we're not going to change that. But some months before, Prabhupada had seen in a book, on a bookshelf, we were in Sanand, a book, I remember I explained this to you once, a book from Lenin. And he then proceeded to tear it to pieces, bit by bit by bit by bit by bit, explaining in every little way how everything he said was wrong. From every point of view. And then, within 2 months, we were also in Eastern Europe preaching. 2 months from that point. And it wasn't that Prabhupada sent us there. He actually sent us to America to take over the Radha Damodar party. But we never got there. We never made it. Somehow got captured in England and sent on a little preaching tour for 4 days or 2 weeks or whatever it was. And never went to America again. This was 10 years ago in 1 month exactly. So, the depth of the spiritual master is very difficult to understand. He may say something which now we haven't the faintest idea in the world what it means. But it will manifest. Just like when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said about Srila Prabhupada. Because they said, why doesn't he manage the Bombay temple? Because Srila Prabhupada found, they have a temple in Bombay, the Gaudiya Math. It's just a little, it's not so little, it's a nice place. I forgot exactly where it is, in Gwalior Tank, I think it is, in Bombay. And that building is so old now, because actually in the early 1930s, Prabhupada had found that building, rented it, and maintained it, so that they could go on preaching. So, that time they said, why he has to do business like this? Why can't he just be the president of the temple here? And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said that, no, he will do the needful in due course of time. You do not have to engage him. He will do the needful in due course of time. He knew perfectly well what was going to happen. That here was a person who was very special. But he did not manifest it generally. He just simply said things like, whatever he writes, print it. Blanket statement. So, spiritual master is very deep. And he may say things which may not manifest for quite some time. Or he may say things which should cause one to manifest something right away. But we have to understand that these words are very important. And if one is a king, one has to understand that these words are paramount importance, topmost importance. Just like the saints and the kings, the sages and the kings. The sages give instruction, the kings would take it very, very, very seriously. They would take every single word as their order. And therefore the society was very nicely organized. No injustices, no wrongs. But this Vena didn't take a word seriously at all. He didn't take it subtly seriously, he didn't take it grossly seriously, he didn't do right now, he didn't do later, he didn't accept it at all. He thought, I'm the all in all, I'm the intelligent one, I can make all the decisions, I understand what's to be done, what's not to be done, it's me who's the authority. Who are you to say anything? So the saintly persons burned him with their words. Nowadays, of course, the saintly persons have no such strength. Can you imagine if those who even had some Brahminical qualities had the power to burn? There'd be nobody left. So, there's no such power, and therefore these saintly personalities should not be involved in political affairs. They should just bring Krishna consciousness to everyone, and gradually everything will change. There's no doubt about it. So, the real quality is surrender. The real quality is to simply bring Krishna to every personality. And that is the deep instruction that Prabhupada has given us. It may seem simple, just distribute my books. It may seem not to have political value, but actually, it's the greatest revolutionary force in the whole universe. Just distribute my books. Everything will come. Prabhupada said, economically, everything will come if you just distribute my books. He gave the formula. 50% to the BBT, 50% to the temples. Yeah. It was very simple. Just distribute my books. Very deep statement. Who really understands the depth of that statement? Because it's unlimited result will come from just distributing his books. Therefore, we've made all this endeavor to make them. If you don't have them, you can't distribute them. Yeah. And we want to go on making them, no matter what happens. Just distribute my books. And it will change the whole world. No doubt about it. Yes, there's no doubt about it. It's a fact. Therefore, we understood this point long time ago. Therefore, we always wanted to engage ourselves in these activities. Just making and distributing these books. Somebody may say, but then what else will go on? But to just do those two things means you have to accomplish so many other kinds of purposes. We have plenty of engagement just to support that activity to keep everybody busy for a lifetime. Just to support that activity, you have to do everything. Just to support it. But that's the whole purpose and the whole goal and the whole point. And that is the strength, the substance, and the foundation of this Krishna consciousness movement. And that is glorious. If we can simply continue just doing that, then we'll just make a great success. And if something somehow inhibits that, then we'll just make a complete failure. Therefore, just go on and do nothing else. Just go on, thinking, doing, arranging for this. And then the whole Krishna conscious force and power will just spread everywhere. Just spread everywhere. And no one will be able to stop it. And that's what's driving the demons crazy. That's why they're freaking out in paranoia. Because they can't stop it. And they can't find out who's making it go. They thought in Russia, if they kick me out, then it'll all stop. Well, it didn't stop. It just doubled and tripled. They thought, if we can just put these leaders there of the devotees in jail, it'll all stop. It didn't stop. It's just tripling and quadrupling. They can't understand who's behind it. They think it must be the CIA. They don't know it's the KIA. They don't believe in God, therefore they don't know that He's behind it. But they're finding out, and they're getting worried. They're more worried about this Krishna consciousness movement than anything else. They're not worried about the Christians. They're worried about the Krishnas. Because somehow there's something there which they've never seen before, and they don't like it. Krishna is coming. They don't like that. No. And they can't stop it. No way. No matter what they do, it just backfires. No matter how they try to arrange it, it just gets more. Can you imagine how frustrated the demons are? Of course, the devotees, they love it. But the demons, no, they don't like. They don't like anything. Yeah. But that's also happening in many other places too. Yeah. Many other places. I once told you that long time ago, in I think it was 1977 or 78, there was a survey in America for kids between the ages of, I think it was 12 and 18, or 14 and 18, a very small age group, 4 years or 6 years age group, where they took a survey, and they asked, what is your religion, in that survey. Some youth magazine did it. It wasn't even a big official survey, just some youth magazine, who had a circulation of so and so many millions. And the choices did not include Krishna consciousness. But 500,000 people wrote in Krishna. 500,000 people. And there wasn't even a choice box, Krishna consciousness. And it was only for a small age group of 4 or 6 years out of all people. 500,000. No devotee could believe it. There are so many devotees of Krishna out there. I heard a story when I was driving back from Govinda's. Devotees told me that one old lady in an old age home refused to go to church. They wanted to know why she refused to go to church. She said, because I'm a Hare Krishna. Devotees are everywhere. Just infiltrating every corner of the whole material world, devotees are there. Every now and then we find devotees come from the most strange places. Like, how did he become Krishna conscious? All over the whole world. Lord Chaitanya's movement is spreading. Lord Chaitanya said it, Prativite Achiyata Nagaradigra. Not the credit that means you'll be glorified, but the credit means just like you'll get that mercy of the Lord. Reach out for the mercy of Krishna by preaching this Krishna consciousness movement in every town and village. How many towns and villages there are just here in this one area? How many places they know about Krishna? How many Namhata centers we have here? In Germany we find it so easy to make Namhata centers. There's so many persons interested in Krishna consciousness. They're budding up everywhere and just spreading throughout the whole society. We have to actually become serious about this preaching business. Actually become serious about this book distribution business. And actually make some great contribution to Lord Chaitanya's mission of expanding Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Make that mission our life's mission. Each and every one of these Scandinavian countries, actually, they should become Krishna conscious very quickly. Why here? Why not? Very quickly, we should bring them to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, let us all work together very cooperatively, without enmity or envious attitude, trying hard to expand this Krishna consciousness movement. And we will get the mercy of the Lord, there's no doubt about it. The Lord is ready to give that mercy if we're ready to take it. Hare Krishna.